Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the Mermail Master and welcome back to another casual deck profile. For today's deck profile, we're going to be taking a look at a water deck. Now, the casual deck profiles which we've recorded are basically deck profiles of decks that you can take into a locals and play against maybe like a little kid or like a player who's new to the game. So we're not talking about just like casual for fun but slightly competitive. We're talking about like a nice hyper casual deck that can really make a couple of plays that your opponent won't see coming. So, in order to start this deck profile, I'm going to explain a little bit about the deck. This is a water deck that focuses around the legendary ocean, and it's a really cool and fun strategy that you'll be able to use to better yourself and to have a lot of fun. So I'll explain a little bit about the deck as we go forward. So to start with the deck, I'm running 3 copies of a Warrior of Atlantis. Now, Warrior of Atlantis is a fantastic card because it's a discard card, so you can discard it to grab a legendary ocean straight from your deck to your hand, which is awesome. And he's also a 1900 beater, and if you already have a legendary ocean in your hand, he goes up to 2100 without pretty much anything. Next is 3 copies of Codarus. Now, I don't think anyone has seen this card, or if you have, maybe you haven't seen it in a while, but Codarus is honestly the best card in this entire deck. Its effect states that basically what you get to do is send 1 face-up Umi you control to the graveyard, and as you'll learn, there's a lot of cards that count as Umi, to target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, and then not destroy them, but send them to the graveyard. So it just is non-destruction, which, many cards get their effects when they're destroyed and sent to the graveyard. Codarus prevents that from happening by just simply sending them to the graveyard, and he's a normal summonable monster who can really get a lot of use out of the Yumi. Next, we're running 2 copies of Screech. Screech is a great card for getting water monsters that you want into your graveyard. When he's destroyed by battle, you just basically send 2 water monsters from your deck to the graveyard, which is kind of like a great foolish burial thing. And you can use it proactively as well if you want to attack into things. He's a reptile, so he is searchable out of the deck. 2 copies of Abyss Warrior. His effect, he's an 1800 beater that goes up to 2000, but his effect is that you can discard a water monster from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 monster in either player's graveyard and return it to the top of the deck. So a great play that you like to do is, have Screech send 2 to the graveyard and then Abyss Warrior it to get that monster back to the top of your deck where it belongs. So very awesome card. Next is 2 copies of the first big boss monster of the deck, and that is Levia Dragon Daedalus. Daedalus is an awesome monster who basically allows you to send 1 Yumi on your field to the graveyard to destroy all other cards on the field. Non-targeting destruction is fantastic, and just blowing up an entire field filled with monsters, is just one of the most satisfying feeling out there. You just blow everything away and then swing in for 2600. So yeah, a very good card. It also doesn't count things in your hand, so you can just, go off with a big play after that. Next is 1 copy of Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Daedalus. And Neo Daedalus, this is actually the first printing of the card. The second printing requires you to sacrifice 1 Levia Dragon Daedalus on your side of the field in order to summon this thing. But once it gets to the field, this thing is the one that you send it to the graveyard, and it sends all cards on the field and in both players' hands to the graveyard. So definitely a very kind of cool thing to bring people, you send the entirety of everyone's hands to the graveyard, and then, your opponent is top decking against a 2900 beater, and that's never really too good for them. 1 copy of Poseidra, the Atlantean Dragon. This is a really great card, 2800 beater, and goes up to 3000 under the legendary ocean, but he's just a really kind of cool card. He's a new sort of indirect support for this water deck, and there's a lot of really easy and interesting ways to get him out on the field. If you have a Deep Sea Diva, you can basically bring Poseidra out from your deck thanks to another card in the deck. And I'm going to explain that combo actually right now. So, with Poseidra over there, the two cards is you got to have that one Deep Sea Diva for that effect, because it can special summon any level 3 Sea Serpent from your deck, or any level 3 or lower Sea Serpent type monster from your deck. Before, you used to be able to use Deep Sea Diva to special summon itself, which was a cool kind of play you could make. And then this is the card right here, Legendary Atlantean Dragon. He's a Sea Serpent monster. You can special summon him out with Deep Sea Diva, go into a level 5 Synchro monster, or you contribute this card and one Sea Serpent type monster you control to special summon one of the Poseidra directly from your deck. And then all monsters your opponent controls lose 300 attack power. So basically decreasing the threshold of your opponent's monsters in a non-targeting way, and using Deep Sea Diva as just basically a way to pull Poseidra out of your deck and just have a big 2,800 beater to 3,000 beater out on the field. So super good kind of little card suite right there to make the deck move forward. Next, now for some of the one-ofs of the deck, we're running one copy of Snowman Eater. Snowman Eater is pretty self-explanatory. He's like a better man-eater bug. When he's flipped face up, target one face-up monster on the field and automatically destroy that target. And he's got a big beefy 1900 defense power as well. One copy of Deep Sea Diver. This card has sort of fallen out of favor as of recently, but it's a very good card at the end of the battle phase. If it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can choose one monster from your deck and place that card on the top of the deck, and that's any monster that you want. So he basically, at the price of your draw, he basically digs for anything you want. But think about it this way, do you just want the chance of drawing that monster, or do you actually want to draw that monster, like the main play that you need to make? One copy of Armed Sea Hunter. You can negate the effects of any monster that battle with this card as long as you control another face-up water monster. And then if this card would be destroyed, you can also destroy one face-up level 3 or lower water monster you control instead. So kind of a cool card. Not many people have given it much attention, but I still think it's kind of a fun thing to include in the deck. One deep sweeper, basically like targeted spell and trap destruction. You contribute it to destroy a spell or trap card on the field, which is super good. One copy of Lost Blue Breaker is mostly the same thing. If there's another face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster, you contribute it to destroy one spell or trap card on the field. And so it's kind of like the same as that, but the main difference is you can actually pull this out with Diva as well. So if you have a play that you want, you can summon Diva, pull out Lost Blue Breaker, and then Lost Blue Breaker will pop a spell or trap. So if you're facing down like an anti-spell fragrance or something like that, and you need to make some plays, Lost Blue Breaker will get rid of that anti-spell fragrance, and it's kind of like pulling an MST directly from your deck. One Spine Gilman. You'd be surprised how good this card is. Something that can also be summoned by Deep Sea Diva, and gains all fish, sea serpent, and aqua type monsters by 400 attack power. Pair that with